Seems like toxic Bitcoin maximalists love to dish it out, but can't take it when the tables turn. So let me arm you with a little ammo for the next time one of these self-proclaimed crypto purists waddles over, muttering their usual nonsense. Bitcoin Ripple scam coin 0. Yep, that's pretty much what they sound like. Broken records on repeat. When they inevitably start spewing their garbage, here's something you can toss right back.
I've been trading crypto successfully for over 380 days, consistently closing every month in profit. In the last 90 days alone, my followers have earned over $29,000 in profits by copying my trades. Want to see my verified stats? Click the first link in the profile description and start copying my trades for free today.
Lately, these Bitcoin maximalists have been having a field day, stirring the pot over recent events. Let's start with the hack yesterday, which I've touched on before in other videos. That's right, they're now claiming Ethereum is centralized because of a hack? Go ahead, try to make that logic work. I'll break it down for you in just a bit, but for now, let's keep the receipts handy. So here's the thing. They've been going after the XRP community, mocking us and taking shots at XRP holders. Why? Because our coin had a chain that halted. Their argument? This can't be the future of money? But hold up, let's debunk that nonsense real quick. Did you know, and this is absolute gold, the Bitcoin blockchain was actually rolled back? Yep, you heard that right. Drop that little nugget of truth next time they start chirping and watch them completely disappear like digital ghosts vanishing into the void. It's fascinating, isn't it? They argue XRP isn't the future because of one chain halt, yet conveniently ignore Bitcoin's rollback. 2025 or not, the conversation just got a whole lot more interesting. Before we dive in, let me be upfront. I'm not a financial expert. Seriously, no financial background here. This isn't financial advice, and you definitely shouldn't make any buy or sell decisions because of anything I say or write. I'm just a crypto enthusiast who loves chatting about all things blockchain on YouTube. It's a hobby, it's fun, and that's the vibe. All right, quick refresher for those who might have missed it. Here's the headline from the block. XRP Ledger's hour-long halt sparks debate over consensus trade-offs. Intriguing, right? Now, to be fair, the XRP Ledger boasts an uptime of 99.9999999%. Technically speaking, it wasn't down. Forward progress paused, which is exactly how it was designed to function. When things go south, the XRP Ledger prioritizes security over progress, choosing to halt rather than push forward until the issue is resolved. It's a built-in safety feature, though some critics, particularly the ever-persistent Bitcoin maximalists, love to spin it differently. Let's dive deeper. Here's the story. Late Tuesday, the XRP Ledger experienced a temporary transaction outage lasting about 64 minutes, stopping at ledger height 93 million. Naturally, this sparked a heated debate between critics and supporters about its implications. Detractors claimed the hour-long halt exposed a consensus failure, making the network vulnerable to coordinated attacks. They also pointed fingers at the network's alleged centralization, citing the relatively small pool of trusted validators. And there it is, folks. Anything that happens on the XRP ledger, it's centralization. But when Bitcoin experiences something similar, oh no, that's just the beauty of a decentralized network doing its thing. The double standards are real, and let's be honest, intellectually dishonest. But I digress. Blockchain infrastructure expert Daniel Keller, CTO at Imminent, weighed in, stating the halt was a feature, not a flaw, a safeguard designed to maintain the ledger's integrity. Truth be told, the XRP ledger isn't broken. It's just doing exactly what it's supposed to do. Every solution comes with trade-offs, and sometimes pressing pause to find the right fix is one of them. Validate or bust, he said, and that couldn't be more true. But let's shift gears, because lately, this isn't the only thing stirring up chatter among the ever-entertaining toxic Bitcoin maximalists. Let's dive into the latest buzz from yesterday. Imagine this, the Bybit hack. Yes, it happened. Withdrawals hit a jaw-dropping $5.3 billion. Cue the collective panic. But before you start drawing FTX parallels, hold on, there's a twist. According to Cointelegraph, Bybit's reserves still exceed their liabilities, which is a big relief. It's not the meltdown many feared. Sure, Bybit had to secure loans from other firms to cover the immediate shortfall from stolen funds, but don't worry, this isn't an FTX-style gamble with users' money. This was about plugging a temporary gap, not reckless behavior. So while the hack was a shock, it doesn't spell disaster, at least not yet. So, $5.3 billion in outflows, and a jaw-dropping $1.4 billion stolen. And guess what? Turns out it was North Korea. Yep, check out this headline from CoinDesk. North Korean hackers were behind crypto's largest theft of all time. Unreal, right? According to blockchain analytics firm Arkham Intelligence, the infamous Lazarus Group pulled off a $1.46 billion hack on Bybit. Absolutely insane. Now imagine sitting on that much stolen ETH and ERC20 tokens. What do you even do next? Launder it? Hide it? The sheer stress of trying to move that amount of crypto without getting caught must be off the charts. You'd have to wonder, did I cover all my tracks? It's madness to think about. Sure, some hackers manage to slip through the cracks, but still, it's a risky game. Remember Razzle Khan? That wannabe rapper and her husband who pulled off the biggest crypto heist at the time? Yeah, they thought they were untouchable too. Look how that turned out. I can't recall the exact numbers, but they were absolutely insane. These hackers thought they'd cracked the code, outsmarted the system, and were in the clear. For years, nothing happened. Then suddenly, the money trail started moving again, and people began paying attention. They were confident their tracks were covered. After all, they'd used a mixer service to obscure where the funds flowed. But here's the twist. The company running the mixer got raided by authorities. I can't remember which country was involved, and that's where it all unraveled. The government seized all their hardware, exposing everything the mixer had been hiding. What was once invisible became crystal clear. Law enforcement pieced it together, and that's how the hackers got caught. It's a classic case of things happening you never planned for. Just imagine, how could any hacker not be sweating bullets, knowing there's always a chance of being exposed? Of course, in the case of North Korea, maybe they don't care. They're working as an entire government operation. Perhaps they think they're untouchable. So, what's the plan here? Seriously, are you really going to pull off laundering all of this? Okay, sure. But anyway, sorry, I'm getting sidetracked. Back to the point. The toxic Bitcoin maximalists are having a field day with this, and honestly, they really shouldn't be. Take Tor Demeester, for example, a well-known name in the Bitcoin world with 298,000 followers on X. He chimed in on the recent 1.4 billion ETH hack, saying, "The recent 1.4 billion ETH hack poses a dilemma for the cartel. Hard fork and roll back the chain, or pursue ultrasound narrative and take the loss. Either way, here's once more an exploit that highlights Ethereum's Turing vulnerability." Now, I'm not entirely sure how an exchange hack speaks to Ethereum's core tech, but let's set that aside for a moment. If this is such a fundamental problem, how do you reconcile it with Bitcoin's history? Former Ripple employee Matt Hamilton brings up a valid point. He wrote, "It's amazing how short Bitcoin maximalists' memories are. They seem to forget when Bitcoin had to be rolled back because of the value overflow bug that printed 184 billion Bitcoin out of thin air." Yes, you read that right. 184 billion Bitcoin created out of nowhere. For context, the max supply of Bitcoin is supposed to be 21 million. And yet one day, someone managed to break the rules and generate an absurd number of coins. Don't believe me? Here's the headline. The day someone created 184 billion Bitcoin. This gem is from Decrypt, and honestly, it's both hilarious and fascinating, and exactly why I had to share it with you. Anytime someone doubts the technical brilliance of the XRP ledger, just hit them with this and watch them scramble. Trust me, it's gold. Consider this your ammunition, my fellow XRP enthusiasts. So let's get into it. Here's the deal. There will only ever be 21 million Bitcoin. Sounds airtight, right? Well, not exactly. By 2020, around 18.5 million Bitcoin were already circulating. Numbers today are slightly different, obviously. But back on August 15th, 2010, someone blew that 21 million cap to smithereens by exploiting a flaw and minting, get this, 184 billion Bitcoin. Yep, billion, with a B. Let's rewind. In 2010, Bitcoin was worth about $0.30. It was so ridiculously cheap that someone famously spent 10,000 Bitcoin on a pizza that's now worth over $110 million. Quick pause. Actually, that's a slight mistake. It wasn't one pizza, it was two, and from Papa John's no less. So yeah, 10,000 Bitcoin for two pizzas because back then, it was basically monopoly money. Wild, right? Back in 2010, Bitcoin was far from the powerhouse cryptocurrency we know today. Like any groundbreaking technology, it hit a few speed bumps, one of the most infamous being a bug that, for a brief moment, generated billions of Bitcoin in just 2 transactions. Yes, billions. Let's rewind to August 2010, when an anonymous individual, still unidentified to this day, exploited a flaw in Bitcoin's code. Enter block 74,638, the oops moment of blockchain history, where 184 billion Bitcoin were magically created, split between two addresses with over 92 billion each. And yes, there's a screenshot of this event if you want to see it. 92 billion Bitcoin right there. It actually happened. Unsurprisingly, this isn't something Bitcoin enthusiasts like to chat about, but it's a fascinating piece of history. The glitch, later called an overflow bug, stemmed from a flaw in how the code handled transaction outputs. Essentially, if the numbers got too large, they overflowed, creating absurdly high values. Enter Jeff Garzik, a Bitcoin developer and now CEO of Block, who called out the issue on the Bitcoin Talk forum. What happened next is a testament to the agility of this emerging tech community. Within 5 hours, developers rolled out a soft fork, resetting the blockchain to its pre-bug state and patching the code to prevent such overflows from happening again. Yes, you read that right. They reset the blockchain after it had already gone live. This wasn't a test phase or a beta version. Bitcoin was up and running, yet they hit rewind like it was no big deal. Impressive, right? It's a reminder of just how early stage and experimental Bitcoin was back then, growing pains and all. Imagine hitting the reset button on the Bitcoin blockchain. That's exactly what happened after a major bug caused 184 billion Bitcoins to be created out of thin air. A soft fork, a type of blockchain update, was quickly deployed to fix the issue. By forking the blockchain back to its state before the bug, the Bitcoin community essentially rewound time. This move invalidated all blocks and transactions recorded after the bugged block, erasing the fraudulent 184 billion Bitcoins and restoring order. The fix came in the form of Bitcoin Patch 0.31, implemented by none other than Bitcoin's mysterious creator, Satoshi Nakamoto. The swift action wasn't just a technical win, it was critical to preserving Bitcoin's credibility as a viable cryptocurrency. Without it, those 184 billion rogue Bitcoins could have destroyed its value entirely. The lesson, even in moments of chaos, decisive action can save the day. Imagine waking up one day to find Bitcoin completely devalued, its worth obliterated by a single exploit. The entire cryptocurrency ecosystem thrown into chaos, all because someone discovered a way to mint-bugged Bitcoin far beyond the intended 21 million supply cap. Such an event would leave the currency at the mercy of whoever held this counterfeit wealth, overshadowing the existing supply and rendering every legitimate Bitcoin worthless. Thankfully, this nightmare scenario was averted early in Bitcoin's history. Back then, patching the exploit and taking the network offline had minimal impact. Bitcoin was still in its infancy. But imagine if this happened today. The fallout would be catastrophic. Global trading would grind to a halt, transactions would be canceled, and confidence in the cryptocurrency would collapse overnight. Shockwaves would ripple through the crypto community, sending Bitcoin's value plummeting and raising questions about the stability of the entire ecosystem. It's a sobering reminder. No cryptocurrency, not even Bitcoin or XRP, is immune to vulnerabilities. Who's to say there isn't an undiscovered flaw waiting to be exposed? Bitcoin may have dodged a bullet early on, but the potential for disruption always lingers in the shadows. After all, XRP's been around for years too. Anything's possible. Bitcoin's been around for a while and you never know. Maybe someone could exploit its vulnerabilities. If that were to happen, it would be catastrophic, shaking the crypto world to its core for years. Sure, some might argue it's a good thing in the long run, but let's be real. Bitcoin was never as untouchable as those hardcore Bitcoin maximalists like to claim. It never has been. When you dig into Bitcoin's history, you see it's faced its fair share of issues. Yet these same Bitcoin diehards are quick to criticize the XRP ledger when it halts, even though it's literally doing what it was designed to do. The XRP ledger pauses under specific conditions to ensure progress remains trustworthy. It's a controlled response, not a flaw. Sometimes stopping is the smartest move to protect an error occurred during generation. Please try again or contact support if it continues. And that's not the only time we've seen something completely unravel their narrative. Check this out. Here's a Bitcoin maximalist named Jason Lowery chiming in. He said, "The fact people are even debating whether the Ethereum Foundation should roll back the chain to stop North Korea's hack proves two things. First, Ethereum isn't decentralized. And second, it could never be a viable global monetary system. Blah, blah, blah. You get the idea. But hold on. XRP community member Crypto Arsenal wasn't having it. His clapback? Oh, you mean like in 2013 when Bitcoin devs forced a rollback of Bitcoin Guild's software? Or how about in 2010 when Satoshi himself rolled back the network after 184 billion Bitcoin were accidentally created in one block? Bitcoiners need to tread carefully with this narrative, and he's got a point. In fact, Crypto Arsenal followed up in another post on January 17th. Fun Bitcoin fact. Back in March 2013, developers coordinated with a large mining pool, Bitcoin Guild, to roll back to previous software after an accidental fork. Without that centralized decision-making, the chain might never have recovered. Makes you think, doesn't it? Let's take a moment to explore what it really means for something to be centralized. Imagine, just for fun, that a blockchain rollback was being considered. Not that it's happening, or even on the table. But let's play along. Say there's a blockchain with 100 nodes, and every one of them gets an equal vote on whether the rollback should occur. If all 100 nodes unanimously agree to roll back the chain, does that make the system centralized? Absolutely not. In fact, it's the opposite. A decision made collectively by equal participants is proof of decentralization. There's no central authority forcing their hand. It's a decision born from consensus. Now, maybe you hate the idea of a rollback. That's fine. If this system's values don't align with yours, there are plenty of other blockchains out there with different principles and participants. Decentralization isn't just about the absence of central power, it's about the freedom to choose the systems that reflect your values. So if rollbacks aren't your thing, just find a chain where they're off the table. Problem solved. If a blockchain's participants unanimously agree to roll back a transaction, sure, they can do it. But let's not fool ourselves. That doesn't make it decentralized. And even if they did roll it back, anyone could still choose to operate on the original chain if they wanted. Hard forks mean options, so the rollback wouldn't really change much. It's just another one of those disingenuous arguments we keep hearing. Honestly, it's the same old playbook. Bitcoin maximalists attacking anything that isn't Bitcoin. XRP often takes the brunt of it, but now ETH's in the crosshairs because of a hack. The irony? The problem wasn't even with Ethereum itself. It was an exchange that got hacked due to poor security. But still, Ethereum gets dragged through the mud. Why? The logic is nonsensical. These arguments don't hold water. That's why I'm sharing this. It's fascinating to see how these narratives evolve, but it's also handy to remember the history. When someone throws these weak takes at you, just mention the 2010 incident where 184 billion Bitcoin were magically created out of thin air. Or remind them of the 2013 rollback on the Bitcoin blockchain. The hypocrisy is real, and these stories are the ultimate counterpunch. Bitcoin isn't flawless here. If the argument is that a rollback proves it's centralized, as some critics claim, then so be it. But honestly, I wouldn't even agree with that. In 2013, when the majority of network participants agreed to take action, that wasn't centralization. It was decentralization in action. It was the community adhering to the code. Sure, you might dislike the rollback process, but it was still a decentralized decision made on the Bitcoin blockchain. So if someone wants to argue it's centralization, throw it back at them. Remind them this same scenario happened on their so-called precious crypto chain. Facts are facts, my friends. And now you're armed with knowledge, because knowledge is power. Just remember, I'm not a financial advisor. Don't make financial moves based on what I say or write. Seriously, that would be a terrible idea.